I arrived at my parents' mansion in a wheelchair, quietly pleading for a place to stay. They literally threw me out like I was nothing. The next morning, I used my grandfather's old card. The bank manager sprang straight up so fast his chair toppled backward. "Sir, you need to see this. You know, sometimes life just reaches out and snatches everything you hold dear in a single, brutal moment. 1 second, I had it all, a perfect family, a beautiful home, a career soaring. The next? Well, let's just say a blinding flash of light and a sickening crunch stole my wife, my daughter, and left me a broken man in a broken body. You want to know what hell really feels like? It's when your own flesh and blood throws you into the abyss, then watches you drown. That night is burned into my soul, crystal clear, like a twisted movie reel playing on repeat. My name is Winston Cole, and back then, at 34, I thought I had truly hit the jackpot. I was a project director at a huge tech company in Texas. Stable job, cozy house in Austin, and then there was Elise, my incredible wife, and our little firecracker, Mia. Elise, her smile could melt away any stress, any exhaustion. And Mia, my 5-year-old girl, with her curly hair and sparkling eyes. "Daddy, I love you!" she'd shout, and my world felt complete. That day, we were living that dream. A joyful afternoon at the mall. Mia, of course, had to have a new doll. Elise was laughing, teasing me while trying on clothes. We ate ice cream, watched a cartoon, just laughing and talking the whole way home. Pure happiness. But then, the rain started. Just a gentle patter at first, but it grew heavier, turning the windshield into a blurry mess. "Drive carefully, honey," Elise whispered, stroking Mia's hair in the back seat. Mia was already drifting off, murmuring about her new doll. I squeezed Elise's hand, feeling so warm, so content. Then, in an instant, everything shattered. Out of nowhere, a massive truck came barreling towards us. Its headlights were like monster eyes, piercing the rain, blinding me. I swerved, trying to hug the shoulder, but the steering wheel jerked, the tires lost grip. Hydroplaning. I slammed the brakes, but it was too late. The car spun like a mad top. Elise screamed my name. Mia wailed from the back. My heart pounded, everything was a blur, the screech of metal, the shattering glass. We smashed into the median, flipping, amidst the torrential rain. My seatbelt cut into me, searing pain shot through my back, down my legs. Gasoline, blood, the smell filled my nose. The car finally stopped, upside down. Rain poured through the broken windows. I hung there, dizzy, ears ringing. "Elise? Mia?" I whispered, fumbling with my seatbelt, my hands shaking, blood from a gash on my forehead dripping into my eyes. I had to get out. I had to save them. With what little strength I had left, I crawled out. My legs, they were just numb, heavy logs. I couldn't move them. Oh God! Using my arms, I dragged myself over broken glass, the cold rain lashing my face. The smell of gasoline was terrifyingly strong. I reached the passenger side. Elise lay motionless. Her head was at an unnatural angle. Blood trickled from her ear, from her mouth. Her beautiful face was pale, eyes half closed. "Elise, wake up, baby!" I shook her, but she was limp, unresponsive. My heart tightened with an icy dread. Then, the back seat. Mia. Still strapped in, but blood pooled on the road beneath the shattered window. No crying. No movement. "Mia, sweetheart, wake up! Don't scare Daddy!" I screamed, crawling closer, reaching out to touch her small face. Her body was soft. Cold. There was no breath. Shock hit me like a punch to the gut, stealing my air. That image, Mia, still and silent, blood mixing with the rain, it burned itself into my mind. I held her close, tears mingling with the rain, and then my vision started to fade. Pain spread through my whole body. My spine felt crushed. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. But for me, it was already too late. The world went black, and I collapsed beside them, praying, just praying, it was a nightmare. When I woke up, everything was white. The harsh, sterile smell of antiseptic. The steady beeping of machines. My body was wrapped in bandages, like a mummy. I tried to move, but a searing pain shot through my spine, forcing a groan. Oh God! Then, a joyful voice. Winston, you're awake! It was Tiffany Hart, Elise's younger sister. Her face was exhausted, eyes red and swollen, but she forced a smile. Tiffany, she loved playing with Mia. What was she doing here? Tiffany, what happened? Where are Elise and Mia? I asked weakly. She took my hand, squeezed it. Just calm down, okay? Don't move. The doctor came in, a middle-aged man with a grave expression. He checked me over. You're fully conscious again, Mr. Cole. That's a good sign. But my heart was hammering. Doctor, please, why can't I feel my legs? It's like they're just gone. He sighed. You suffered a severe spinal cord injury. You're paralyzed from the waist down. The chances of walking again are virtually zero. Paralyzed. Me? A strong, healthy man crippled? I was stunned, but then the images of Elise and Mia flooded back. Elise and Mia? Where are they? Are they okay? My voice trembled. The doctor glanced at Tiffany, then avoided my eyes. Tiffany lowered her head in silence. That silence, it crushed me. A terrible premonition. Somebody tell me! I screamed, trying to push myself up, but my body betrayed me. My lifeless legs buckled, and I collapsed back onto the bed. The physical pain was nothing compared to the fear, the guilt. It's all my fault. I wept, tears streaming. I wasn't careful enough. Tiffany and a nurse rushed to hold me down. Please, Winston, calm down. You'll hurt yourself. Finally, I lay still, breathing heavily. Tiffany held my hand, her eyes brimming. Winston, you have to be strong. I don't know how to say this gently, but Elise and Mia, they didn't survive the accident. They died at the scene. Her words cut into my heart like a knife. No. It couldn't be true. They were just injured. I shook my head, but deep down I knew. The memory of blood on the rainy road rushed back. I completely broke down. I cried like a child. Utter despair swallowed me whole. My wife. My daughter. Gone forever. And I, the survivor, was just a broken shell. My life ended that night. The next morning, I hadn't slept a wink. Staring at the hospital ceiling, the beeping heart monitor. A cruel reminder I was still alive, a reminder I didn't want. My spirit was shattered. But I was calmer now, just a dull, constant pain spreading from my heart. Tiffany stayed. Exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, but she still forced a smile, pushing a food tray closer. Eat some porridge, Winston. You need your medicine. I looked at her, feeling both gratitude and immense guilt. I tried to swallow the bland porridge, but my throat was blocked. Tiffany, tell me everything. How long was I unconscious? How did you know to come? I asked, trying to sit up, wincing. She sighed, her eyes drifting to the window. You were in a coma for 2 days. The hospital called me. Elise had me listed as her emergency contact. Her voice trembled. I was home, about to go to bed, when the phone rang. They said there had been an accident, that you, Elise, and Mia were in critical condition. I could picture it, Tiffany alone, getting that call. I rushed over immediately, driving through the rain, my heart pounding. When I got here, I stood frozen in the hallway. The doctor told me Elise and Mia had died at the scene. There was nothing they could do. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I had to sign the papers, identify the bodies, handle all the formalities. All by myself. My heart twisted. Tiffany had endured all of that while I was unconscious. Thank you, Tiffany. Truly. I don't know what to say. You handled everything alone. Now, please. Organize the funeral. Elise wanted to be buried in the cemetery near our house, the one with the cherry trees. And Mia, she loved white flowers. My voice broke. Tiffany nodded, wiping her eyes. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. Just focus on recovering. And please, stop blaming yourself. I said nothing, only looked down at my motionless legs under the white blanket. Cold numbness. They weren't mine anymore. Two lifeless logs. The thought of being disabled for life choked me. Useless. A burden. God, how am I supposed to live now? Paralyzed. I'm worthless. I whispered, clenching the sheet until my knuckles turned white. Tiffany took my hand. Don't think like that. You will recover. As long as you're alive, there's hope. You have to stay positive. But her words just made me feel more hopeless. The future was pitch black. I decided to call my parents, Camden and Marilyn Cole. They lived in a luxurious villa not far from Austin, always busy with their real estate empire. Our relationship was never close. They saw me as a failed project, because I chose tech over the family business. But now I needed them. My hand shook as I dialed. Hello, Dad? It's me, Winston. My father's voice came through, cold as ever. Yes? What is it? I told him everything. The accident. Elise and Mia. My paralysis. I need you and Mom to help Tiffany with the funeral. I can't do anything from this hospital bed. Silence. Then a curt, all right. I'm in a meeting right now. I'll look into it later. He hung up. Not one question about my injuries. Not a single word of condolence for Elise and Mia. Not even a hint of comfort. I called my mother, hoping for something, anything, but she was even colder. I'm very busy, too. Handle it yourself. She ended the call abruptly, like I was an annoying interruption. I stared at the dark phone screen, seeing my pale reflection. Their indifference burned bitterly. I wanted to scream. These were my parents! How could they be so heartless? But I had no strength left. Only a dull pain. That same afternoon, my phone rang again. My company. 8 years I dedicated to them, countless sleepless nights. They must be calling to check on me. I thought, a tiny spark of hope flickering. My boss's voice was ice cold. Winston, we're calling to inform you that due to your prolonged absence, a critical project has been severely impacted. Management has decided to transfer your responsibilities to someone else. My heart sank. What? I was in an accident. Unconscious for 2 days. He cut me off. It's not just that. Your extended, unnotified leave has caused significant damage. We have no choice but to terminate your employment to maintain organizational progress. Terminate me. It hit like a thunderbolt. How can you do this? I'm paralyzed. I lost my wife and daughter. Please, give me time. I tried to explain, my voice shaking, but he refused to listen. The decision is final. Good luck. The call ended with a long, empty beep. The screen went dark, and I felt a profound emptiness, like a black hole swallowing everything. Family gone. Career gone. My body no longer my own. The future? An endless abyss. I lay there, staring out the window as the afternoon light faded, my heart dying little by little. Tiffany came back, saw my face. What's wrong? They fired me. I choked out, tears streaming. I've lost everything. She hugged me. You still have me. We'll get through this. But at that moment, I couldn't believe it. My life, once at its peak, had fallen into the deepest pit. Could anything be worse? Or was this only the beginning of hell? The next days were a haze of medication and pain. Elise and Mia's funeral took place without me. A husband and father who couldn't even stand to say goodbye. Tiffany handled everything, just as she promised. I could only picture the scene, a small white coffin for Mia, cherry blossoms for Elise, friends and colleagues bowing their heads. But I wasn't there. I lay, tears soaking my pillow, blaming myself for surviving. 3 days after the accident, or rather, 3 days after my entire world collapsed, Tiffany returned. Her face was pale, dark circles under her eyes so deep she looked like she hadn't slept. Yet she still tried to stay composed, forcing a strange smile. "Have you eaten?" I brought fruit. Her voice tried to sound cheerful. I looked at her, overwhelmed with gratitude, mixed with guilt. She was only 28, she should have been living her own life, not running around taking care of a broken brother-in-law. "Thank you, Tiffany. How was the funeral? Did it go smoothly?" I asked, trying to sit up, grimacing in pain. She sat beside the bed. "Everything went fine. I chose the cemetery near the house. Some of Elisa's friends came, and a few of your colleagues." I nodded, but the real question was stuck in my throat. What about my parents? Did they come? I told them everything. A faint hope flickered. No matter how cold they were, this was their daughter-in-law and granddaughter's funeral. Surely they'd show up. Tiffany shook her head slightly, eyes fixed on the floor. I didn't see them there. Not once. No one introduced themselves as relatives from the husband's side. I waited the whole time, thinking maybe they were delayed. Her words hit me like a punch. I froze, my ears ringing. That can't be. I called them. I told them everything. I whispered, my heart racing. Images of my parents flashed, Camden in his stern suits, Marilyn with her fake socialite smile. They always cared about appearances. How could they skip their own granddaughter's funeral? The pain surged, burning. I couldn't stay still. With trembling hands, I grabbed my phone and dialed my mother. It rang for a long time. "What is it?" Her cold voice. "Mom, about Elise and Mia's funeral. Why didn't you and Dad come? I asked you to." My voice shook with anger. Silence. Then, indifferently. "Yes, I know, but we were busy with meetings all day. There's no changing what's already happened, dear. I'm in a meeting right now. Bye." She hung up. I stared at the dark screen, my throat tight. Tears spilled over. How could they? How can they be so heartless? I whispered, my hands clenching. Tiffany put her arms around my shoulders. "Calm down, please. Don't think about it." But the suppressed pain choked me. Cast out by my own flesh and blood. They gave birth to me, raised me, yet now, when I needed them most, they turned away. I felt like an orphan, lost and alone. In the days that followed, the hospital became my personal hell. Every morning I woke, stared at my lifeless legs, trying to wiggle a toe. Nothing. Doctors offered vague words. "It takes time. You have to be patient." Patient? How, when mental anguish tormented me every second? Tiffany stayed by my side like a tireless angel. She'd arrive early, help me eat, feed me when my hands shook too much. She'd wheel me to tests. I tried to push her away. "Go home, Tiffany. I can manage. You have your own life," I said weakly, looking away. She shook her head firmly. "Don't say that. Elise wouldn't want to see you alone like this. I'm her sister. I have to help. We're family." Her words touched my heart, reminding me of Elise, how she always cared. "She's strong, but sometimes lonely. Look after her for me, okay?" Now Tiffany was doing exactly what Elise would have done. "Thank you," I choked out, tears rolling. "I don't know how I'll ever repay you." In stark contrast, silence from my parents. Never visited, never called. Their coldness cut like a knife, making me feel utterly abandoned. At night I lay awake. What did I do wrong for them to hate me this much? Tiffany noticed my pain. "What are you thinking about?" I told her everything. She listened, then said gently, "They have their reasons, but you're not alone. I'm here." Her words were a faint ray of light. Tiffany's presence in my darkest days kept me from falling apart. She didn't just care for my body, she healed my spirit. For the first time, I felt the world hadn't completely turned its back on me. But deep inside, the pain still lurked. "Life, why are you so cruel?" The final days in the hospital dragged on under an oppressive anxiety. Then, one rainy afternoon, the doctor walked in. "Winston, your condition has stabilized. We've confirmed you're fit for discharge. You can go home tomorrow. The words exploded in my head. Discharge? Home? To where? I looked at my paralyzed legs. Dread, heavier than the ache in my spine, crushed me. I couldn't manage on my own. The hospital was safe. Out there, the world would swallow a broken man like me whole. My heart pounded. Cold sweat. Go home? But how am I supposed to live? I whispered, panic rising. Tiffany came that afternoon. She read my face instantly. What's wrong? I'm being discharged tomorrow, I said, voice trembling. I don't know what to do. She sat down, took my hand. Come stay with me. I have a spare room. I'll help you. Her offer was so warm, so sincere. But I shook my head. After many sleepless nights, I had no choice but to consider the last resort, asking my parents. I didn't want to impose on Tiffany, she'd done too much. And I was terrified of rumors of disrupting her life. That paralyzed man living with his young sister-in-law. People would talk. I refused to let her suffer for it. No, Tiffany. I'll go to my parents' house. They're my blood. They'll let me stay while I recover. I said it to convince myself as much as her. Tiffany looked worried. Are you sure? They never even visited you. I nodded, my heart like lead. The next morning, discharge day, the hospital air felt suffocating. The nurse helped me dress, lowered me into a wheelchair. Strange. Humiliating. Like a helpless child again. Tiffany gathered my few belongings, including Elisa's old notebook. She wheeled me down the corridor. Here we go. Ready? I nodded, heart racing. The drive to my parents' house, on the outskirts of Austin, felt endless. Rain dotted the windshield, bringing back flashes of the accident night. I gripped the armrests, fighting memories of blood and twisted metal. Tiffany drove carefully. I stared out the window, nerves jangling. They'll at least let me stay a few months while I rehabilitate. They'll understand. I repeated silently, but deep down, fear whispered, what if they refuse? When we arrived, the villa loomed. A huge house, manicured gardens, luxury cars. I'd grown up here, but it never felt like home. Only a cold residence. Tiffany parked and helped me into the wheelchair. My pulse thundered. Sweat soaked my shirt. We rang the bell. My father, Camden Cole, opened the door. Tall, impeccably suited, silver-streaked hair. No shock, no concern in his face. Just a curt nod. Come in. My mother, Marilyn, appeared, perfectly made up, but her eyes swept over me like I was a stranger. No hug, no questions. Why the sudden visit? She asked flatly. I swallowed hard. I was discharged today. I need to talk. We moved into the living room. Expensive leather, art on the walls, yet as cold as an office. Tiffany wheeled me in and stood behind me, tense. I took a deep breath. Mom, Dad, I've lost everything. Elise and Mia are gone. I'm paralyzed. I lost my job. I can't work right now. I need a place to stay while I recover, try to rebuild my life. Just a few months. I'll do my best. I looked at them, searching for a flicker of compassion. There was none. My father folded his arms. Having a disabled person living here would be extremely inconvenient, Winston. It would damage the family image, especially since we regularly host guests and business associates. What would they think if they saw you like this? The word disabled. Cut like a blade. That's how he refers to his own son. My mother added coldly, her voice shrill. Exactly. We can't turn the villa into a nursing facility. You should find somewhere more suitable, a retirement home or something. So you don't disrupt our lifestyle. Lifestyle? Something inside me snapped. How can you say that? I shouted, gripping the wheelchair arms until my knuckles hurt. I lost my wife and daughter. You didn't even come to their funeral. Didn't call once while I was in the hospital. But now you won't let me stay a few months? I'm your son. Tears streamed down my face. Tiffany's trembling hands rested on my shoulders, trying to calm me. My father just stared, his voice flat as a business report. You're an adult, Winston. The accident was unfortunate, but you have to take responsibility for your own life. Your mother and I can't take on any more problems. Problems? I was a problem to them. Then my mother glanced sideways, a look of contempt, and delivered the venomous blow. If Tiffany has been taking care of you every day anyway, just go live with her. Who knows? Maybe you'll replace Elise with her little sister. After all, you're already used to women from that family. The words were a vicious slap. Replace Elise with Tiffany? How could she say something so vile while I was at my lowest? I froze in disbelief. Behind me, Tiffany went pale with shock and humiliation. Her grip on my shoulders tightened painfully. She whispered, "Don't listen to them, Winston." But I saw tears in her eyes. She couldn't believe adults could spew such cruelty. The living room felt like a courtroom pronouncing sentence on me. My heart pounded as I waited for them to take it back. They didn't. Realizing there was no hope left, I said nothing more. I simply turned the wheelchair toward the door in silence. The wheels squeaked across the marble floor, carrying me away as my own flesh and blood pushed me into the abyss for the third time. Tiffany wheeled me out, her voice shaking. "Winston, are you okay?" I couldn't answer. Tears rolled down my cheeks. The rain outside had grown heavier, as if crying for me. We got into the car, and as we drove away, I looked back one last time. That house. It had never been a home. Only a prison of painful memories. My heart was hollow, yet the pain was deeper than ever. Life, how cruel can it be? To be betrayed by your own blood. That was the fatal blow. I wondered if there was anything left to lose. Rain streaked down the car windows, like jagged wounds that refused to heal. I sat motionless, hands clenched, knuckles white. Tiffany drove slowly, glancing over with worried eyes, but she said nothing. She probably knew words would only make it worse. My mind spun with my father's icy expression, my mother's venomous words, disabled, a burden, replace Elise. They echoed, choking me. What had I even hoped for? A hug? A word of comfort? I'd grown up with their indifference, but this time, it shoved me straight to the bottom of the abyss. My heart raced, thinking about the future. No home. No money. A ruined body. Where was left to go? After a long, heavy silence, I finally spoke, my voice hoarse. "Tiffany, take me back to the old rental house, the one in the suburbs. I still have the keys." I tried to sound calm, but I knew I wouldn't last there. Next month's rent was due in days, and my wallet was empty. Every penny Elise and I had saved for our dream life had been swallowed by hospital bills, treatment, and the funeral expenses. What was left? A few $100s. Enough for a week. But with paralyzed legs, how was I supposed to pay rent? The thought made my chest tighten, panic rising. If I got evicted, where would I go? A homeless man in a wheelchair? Tiffany shook her head immediately, her voice firm yet gentle. "No way. You can't go back there. Not alone, not in your condition. That apartment is tiny. The stairs are steep. No elevator. It's completely unsuitable. You'd be in danger." She gripped the steering wheel tighter. I knew she was right. That little rental had once been our happy home. Elise cooking, Mia laughing. Now, it was just a narrow box full of painful memories. I pictured myself there, alone, crawling from bed to kitchen. And if I fell, no one would hear. Cold sweat broke out. Yet I still tried to refuse. "It's okay, Tiffany. I don't want to mess up your life. You have work, friends. I'll manage somehow. I'll hire a caregiver." The words sounded weak, even to me. Manage with lifeless legs and a shattered heart. But Tiffany refused to let me stay there. Her voice trembled. "Don't say that. Elise would never want to see you alone, in danger. She always looked out for you. And I'm her sister. I have to do this for her. Please come stay with me. Just temporarily." I have plenty of space. I'll take care of you. Her words struck the deepest part of my pain. I saw Elise, smiling, stroking my hair. You're never alone. I'm here. Elise was gone, but Tiffany was trying to fill that void. My heart pounded, torn between gratitude and guilt. I wanted to refuse, to prove I was strong. But my exhausted body and broken spirit wouldn't let me. Finally, with no other options, no strength left to argue, I nodded. Okay. Thank you. I'll stay with you. Tiffany gave a small, relieved smile, though her eyes were still red. The car turned toward her apartment. Was this a new beginning? Or just another burden I was placing on her? When we arrived, her apartment was in a quiet neighborhood, with a small balcony overlooking a park. Not big, but cozy. Neatly stacked books, plants, the faint scent of coffee. She wheeled me inside and quickly set up a comfortable sleeping area in the living room. Fresh sheets, soft pillows. Rest now. I've got everything ready. Medicine here, warm water here, and I'll make you some porridge, she said, busy but gentle. I lay down, my body drained after the ordeal. From the hospital to the confrontation with my parents. Rain still tapped against the window, a sad lullaby. Watching Tiffany bustle around, gratitude flooded me, mixed with guilt. She should have been living her own peaceful life, not caring for a broken brother-in-law. In the days that followed, a routine slowly formed at Tiffany's place. But for me, it was filled with struggle and anxiety. She woke before sunrise to prepare food and medicine before heading to work. I'd hear her in the kitchen, the clink of a spoon, the blender whirring. Then she'd bring a tray to my bedside. Eat up. I made banana smoothie today. Good for you. In the evenings, after a long day at work, she'd come home and continue caring for me, helping me bathe, change clothes, assisting with every small daily task. Just call me if you need anything, she'd say, tired but cheerful. I saw how exhausting it was for her, and the gratitude and self-reproach tore at me. Every time I caught her dozing off on the sofa after staying up late massaging my legs, my heart ached. Don't ever let anyone sacrifice for you. Now Tiffany was sacrificing, and I was powerless to stop it. In those first days, I struggled with my half-paralyzed body like a prisoner trapped inside my own skin. Even turning over or sitting up made me break into a sweat. My spine throbbed as if pierced by needles. I tried to do things myself, reaching for a glass of water, only for my trembling hand to spill it everywhere. I muttered curses, despair flooding me. I started the exercises the doctor prescribed, sitting upright, shifting, balancing. But I fell often, staring helplessly at a body that refused to obey. Once, trying to sit up too fast, I crashed to the floor, pain shooting through me. Heart pounding, I lay there gasping, wondering if it was even worth trying. Tiffany rushed in, terrified. What happened? Don't practice alone. Every evening, she patiently helped with therapy, supporting me on the walking frame, massaging my limbs with warm oil, encouraging me step by step. One more try. I've got you, she'd say, gripping my hands tightly. Those sessions were agonizing, my legs stiff and numb, muscles twitching, but she never gave up. I thought of Mia, how she used to laugh when I taught her to ride a bike. Hold the bike for me, Daddy. Now I was the child who needed someone to hold me. The guilt kept me awake at night, anxiously waiting for any sign of improvement. Then one morning, as I tried moving like always, I suddenly felt a faint tingle run down to my foot. Like a weak electric current. My big toe twitched. Just a little. But enough to stun me. Tiffany, look! Oh God, I can't believe it! I shouted, voice shaking with emotion. She ran in, eyes wide. What? What is it? I tried again. The toe moved more clearly. We both froze, then burst into overwhelmed joy. She hugged me, tears streaming. You did it! I smiled, the first real smile in months, warmth spreading through my chest. But after that brief moment of joy, reality crashed back. The road to recovery was still incredibly long. Months, maybe years, filled with pain and setbacks. And I was still trapped. No job, no money, completely dependent on Tiffany. The future remained a dark void. My heart raced whenever I thought, what if she gets tired of this? What if I never improve? Those days I trained twice as hard, but the fear never left. Tiffany kept encouraging me. Just one small step. We'll make it. I nodded, but deep down, the anxiety never faded. Life is full of surprises. From the depths of despair, a tiny spark of hope had flickered. But would it be enough to pull me out? The following weeks passed in a familiar yet exhausting rhythm. Every morning I woke, looked through the thin curtains of Tiffany's apartment, and wondered what the day would bring, a small step forward, or another disappointment. Tiffany remained tireless, up early to prepare breakfast, help me exercise, then head to work. I tried to do more on my own, pushing myself up with my arms to sit, shifting on the bed without her support. But every fall, every stab of pain in my back reminded me of my helplessness. One afternoon, golden sunlight pouring through the window, Tiffany decided to sort through the dusty suitcases we had brought from my old house. They were filled with memories, Elisa's clothes, Mia's toys, a few of my personal belongings. She sat on the living room floor, opening each bag. I'll tidy these up, okay? What should we keep? What should we let go? I sat in the wheelchair beside her, watching, my heart heavy. Every item brought back a flood of memories, Elisa's favorite blouse, Mia's doll. My chest tightened, but I forced a smile. Yeah, go ahead. Then, as she opened an old notebook I used for work ideas, a card slipped out and glinted in the sunlight. Tiffany picked it up. What's this? An old card. Should I keep it or toss it? She asked, handing it to me. I froze the moment my eyes met the familiar silver card. My hands trembled. It was the card my grandfather, Winston Cole, the man I was named after, had given me years ago, before he passed. The only keepsake I had always carried, tucked inside that notebook like a silent reminder. The surface was dull, but the words, Legacy Access Card, were still clear, along with the faint bank logo. My heart beat faster, as if the past were rushing back through every groove. No, keep it. It's something from Grandpa, I whispered, my voice catching. Tiffany nodded and placed it in my hand. Okay. I'll leave it here. Rest now. I'll make dinner. She stood and went to the kitchen, leaving me alone in the quiet room. In that silence, I sat motionless for a long time, holding the worn silver card, feeling past and present squeeze my heart. A deep, wordless emptiness rose inside me, and my eyes blurred as childhood memories flooded back. Grandpa Winston Cole. He was the only person who had ever truly protected and loved me when I was little. He lived simply, in an old wooden house with a small garden. While my parents were always consumed by work, leaving me with nannies and cold dinners, Grandpa was my only anchor. He'd take me to the park, push me high on the swing, laughing. Hey Winston, don't be afraid to fall. He taught me what it meant to live with principles, honesty, patience, staying kind even when the world turned its back. Those weren't just words, he lived them. And his calm, generous spirit became my compass. He taught me to read adventure stories by the fireplace, his warm voice reading late into the night. He taught me to ride a bike, running behind me, shouting, "Keep your balance, grandson. I've got you." Most importantly, he listened to every childhood sorrow. My parents never noticed the times I was bullied, the lonely nights when they were away. Sometimes life turns its back, but you have to live honestly, kindly, and patiently, he'd say, patting my shoulder. The day he died, 8 years ago, from a sudden heart attack, I felt like I'd lost half my world. My anchor. The only person who loved me unconditionally, asking nothing but my smile in return. His funeral was simple, just a few relatives. My parents were too busy with meetings to stay until the end. I wept at his grave and promised to live the way he taught me. Now, looking at the worn card, buried memories rushed back, bringing up pain and longing that choked me. Hot tears rolled down my cheeks. "Grandpa, I miss you so much," I whispered, clutching the card. I remembered his final words in the hospital, weak but firm. If life ever pushes you to the very bottom, take this card to the bank. They'll help you stand again. Back then, I thought it was just a small savings account. A few thousand, nothing more. I'd smiled sadly and said, "Thanks, Grandpa, but I'm fine." Now, paralyzed, having lost everything, it was the only comfort I had left. My heart raced with a mix of hope and curiosity. What was really in there? A little money to survive? Or just a memory? The next morning, after a sleepless night filled with memories of Grandpa, I decided to find out. While Tiffany prepared breakfast, I called her. "Tiffany, can you take me to the main branch of First National Trust? I need to check this card." She looked surprised. "That old card?" "Sure, after breakfast." My heart pounded the entire drive. Everything blurred by in a fog of anxiety. First National Trust stood downtown, a tall building with gleaming glass. Tiffany wheeled me to the counter. I handed the card to a young employee. With a professional smile, she took it. But the moment she saw the front, her expression changed. Her eyes widened. Her hands trembled slightly. "Please wait just a moment," she whispered, immediately ushering us into a private room and calling a senior manager. The atmosphere turned formal, almost secretive. "Staff," whispered. The door closed firmly. Both Tiffany and I were bewildered. "What? What is this card? Why the private room?" she asked quietly, squeezing my hand. I shook my head. "I only know it's from Grandpa." My pulse thundered. Cold sweat broke out. Then the manager entered, a middle-aged man in a sharp suit. Momentarily stunned to see the Legacy Access card in the hands of an ordinary man in a wheelchair. "Mr. Cole. Good day. We need to verify your identity." His tone was grave. They checked everything: ID, fingerprint scan, a security pin Grandpa had made me memorize years ago. Everything matched. "You are the sole legal owner of the account," the manager confirmed, his voice slightly trembling. Then he explained, slowly, as if revealing a long-held secret. "This is not an ordinary debit card. It is a Legacy Trust Access Pass. The key to a high-value inheritance trust, managed under absolute confidentiality. Your grandfather established it many years ago, naming you as the sole beneficiary." My heart felt like it would burst. He listed the assets, $1.2 billion in total, including over $120 million in cash, a blue-chip stock portfolio worth nearly $480 million, a 25% stake in his real estate company valued at approximately $320 million, more than $160 million in bonds, a commercial complex in Phoenix worth over $150 million, and 2 safe deposit boxes containing documents, precious metals, and a USB drive left by Grandpa. I sat speechless, mouth open, unable to believe my ears. 1.2 billion. My grandfather, the man who lived simply, wore old clothes, ate plain oatmeal every day, had left a fortune this enormous? How? How is this possible? I whispered, tears welling up, my heart racing. The manager smiled. Your grandfather was a very private, highly successful investor in real estate and securities. He wanted everything kept secret until it was needed. On the way out of the bank, I sat silently in the wheelchair, clutching the USB and the card, overwhelmed and deeply moved. Tiffany drove, her voice trembling. You're rich! My God! Grandpa left you an incredible fortune! But I didn't smile. I just cried quietly. Grandpa had saved me from the grave, from the abyss. A new door was opening after every tragedy that had pushed me to the bottom. My heart beat fast with a flicker of hope, recovery, a fresh start, living kindly as he taught me. Yet deep down, I knew the journey was only beginning. With that wealth came great responsibility. Life is so full of surprises. From poverty, I had become a billionaire overnight. But Grandpa's memory was the true treasure. I thought of him more than ever. Those afternoons when he talked about investing. It's not about money, it's about patience, grandson. Now I understood. Back home, I carefully put the card away, my heart warm. And Tiffany asked, "What will you do with all that money?" I whispered, "Live." Well, the way he taught me. That night, holding the USB, my heart pounded. What's on it? A message? Hope mixed with anxiety. Life is dramatic, and I was right in the middle of it. Back at Tiffany's apartment, I couldn't wait any longer. With trembling hands, I plugged the USB the bank had given me into my old laptop. The screen flickered. Then, a slightly grainy video began to play, clearly recorded many years ago. There he was. The weathered yet gentle face of my grandfather, Winston Cole, sitting in his familiar wooden rocking chair inside the old log cabin. Behind him were the same dusty bookshelves, the cold, empty fireplace. His kind smile looked straight at me through the screen, as if he were still alive. My heart clenched. Tears instantly welled up. He looked frail, his hair snow-white, but his eyes still sparkled. He spoke, his voice warm and raspy with age. "Hello, my boy Winston. If you're watching this, it means I'm gone. And that you need me right now." I sat motionless in the wheelchair, drinking in every word. He said that in his entire life, what made him proudest was not the wealth or the successful deals he had kept completely secret, but my character. "You are kind, responsible, loving, and honest even when you've been hurt," he said, his voice trembling. "I saw it when you were little, when you gave your toys to friends. When you comforted me after your grandmother died. You're not like your parents. They chase money and forget what it means to be human." His words cut deep, bringing back memories of those cold dinners at my parents' house, where the only topics were contracts and profits. While Grandpa was the only one who ever asked, "Were you happy today?" In the video, he explained that he had left everything to me not because I was the eldest grandson, but because I was the only person he trusted to use it properly. Not for revenge, not for corruption, but to keep living with the kindness he had taught me. Don't use money to get even. Vengeance only breeds more hatred. Use it to build, to lift others up, and to live a life that truly matters. My heart pounded as he continued. If you're watching this, it means life has pushed you into the deepest pit. I know, because I've been there. I lost your grandmother. I lost friends. But I stood back up. This card is the last rope I can throw to pull you out. He gave a sad smile, eyes glistening. I hope you find yourself again. Live a worthy life, and never feel alone, because my love will always be with you. The video ended with him waving goodbye. The screen faded to black. I sat frozen, tears streaming onto the keyboard. I didn't know whether to cry from gratitude. He had saved me from the grave, or from grief. He was truly gone, or from the unconditional love he had given me, the kind my parents had never shown. "Thank you, Grandpa," I whispered, stroking the screen as if I could touch him. For the first time since the accident, after months of despair, I actually saw a future. Not an endless black void, but a path, rough and steep, yet with light at the end. Tiffany walked in from the kitchen, saw me crying, alarmed. "What's wrong? What was on the video?" I told her everything, voice breaking. She sat beside me and hugged me tight. "Your grandfather was an extraordinary man. Now you have everything you need to start over." And she was right. The very next week, I used a tiny fraction of the inheritance, still stunned by its size, to hire the best physical therapy team in Texas. Not ordinary doctors, but top specialists from a renowned rehabilitation center. I invested in state-of-the-art recovery equipment, electrical muscle stimulators, multifunction walking frames, even a small therapeutic pool. Most importantly, I bought a new house. Spacious, safe, on the outskirts of Austin, with no stairs, a private gym, and a lush garden for peace and quiet. Not a lavish mansion, but a warm, accessible home where I wouldn't be confined to a wheelchair forever. Tiffany and I moved in together. Not because I was still dependent, though at first I did need her help, but because we both wanted to walk this difficult road side by side. "Tiffany, how would you feel about living together for a while? Not so you have to take care of me, But so I don't have to face this part alone? I asked, my heart racing. She nodded, eyes shining. I understand. And I don't mind at all. If you need someone by your side, I'm here. After all, we're still family. Moving was a challenge. Boxes piled high, laughter mixed with tears when we found old photos of Elise and Mia. But the new house brought hope. Wide bedrooms, a modern kitchen, a bright gym filled with gleaming equipment. Therapy began immediately. And it was still hell. Every morning, the team arrived, muscle massage specialists, physical trainers with personalized programs. I fell over and over while trying to stand, losing balance on the walker, legs jerking like I was being electrocuted, my body drained after every session. The pain went straight to the bone. I was soaked in sweat. I wanted to give up 100 times. I can't do this! I'd shout, lying on the floor, gasping. But every single time, Tiffany was there to help me up, encouraging me step by step. Try again. I'm right here, she'd say, gripping my hands, her eyes full of determination. She didn't just help physically, massaging my legs at night, preparing nutritious meals. She lifted my spirit, telling funny stories, playing the music Grandpa loved, reminding me of his words, live kindly and patiently. 3 months in, I could sit steadily without shaking and move around the house on the walker by myself. Winston, you're amazing! You did it! Tiffany cheered, hugging me tight. 6 months later, I practiced standing, shifting weight onto my legs. Every second felt like needles, then taking tiny steps, pain shooting through my bones. But I gritted my teeth. Tiffany cried with joy. The first time I took real steps. After 1 full year of relentless effort, 1 year of sweat, tears, and sleepless nights, I could finally walk with crutches. It was still hard, each step heavy, but steady. The first time I crossed the room without the wheelchair, my heart pounded with emotion. Tiffany stood there, eyes shining with pride and relief. You're walking! Oh my God! We hugged, laughing and crying at once. It was a rebirth. From a broken man, I had become someone who could stand again, even if still limping. While I focused on recovery and rebuilding my life, planning finances, making small investments the way Grandpa taught me, I occasionally heard snippets about my parents. They had run into debt from reckless investments and overspending on luxury villas and new cars. But now, partners were pulling out, banks were foreclosing. I said nothing. Didn't call. Didn't help. I only felt a clear, quiet distance, as if their life and mine had long been on separate paths. My heart no longer raced with anger when I thought of them, just a faint, fading sadness, like looking at an old photograph. They reap what they sow, I thought, then went back to my training. My life now belonged to me, with Tiffany by my side, Grandpa watching from above, and a future brighter than ever. Yet deep down, I knew the challenges weren't over. The drama still lurked. And I had to stay ready. Once my health had stabilized further, when I could walk with crutches without Tiffany constantly supporting me, even though every step still felt like needles, I decided I could no longer just sit still. Lying in the living room of our new house, gazing out at the lush garden bathed in late afternoon sunlight, I thought, the fortune Grandpa left me wasn't meant for me to lie around and enjoy. He had taught me to live kindly, responsibly, and to build something worthwhile. With years of experience as a project director, leading teams, solving complex problems, I knew I could do it again. Start a new company, Tiffany suggested one evening, as we sat with cups of hot coffee. You know you're good at this. Elise always said so. Don't waste your talent. My heart raced with excitement and fear of failure, fear my body wouldn't keep up. But I nodded. The following week, I used a tiny fraction of the inheritance, just a few $1,000,000, enough to get started, to found a technology company specializing in project consulting and software development. The name? Legacy Tech, in memory of Grandpa and my promise to live well. The early days were brutal, like walking into an endless battle. I ran the company from a small, inexpensive office in downtown Austin, wooden desks, a handful of computers, while continuing daily physical therapy and learning to live again with a body that had once been paralyzed. Before sunrise, I practiced walking around the house, legs trembling, shirt soaked in sweat after only a few meters. Then I drove to the office, crutches in one hand, heart pounding in case I fell. I met with the tiny initial team, just 3 young engineers I hired online who believed in my story. "We start small, then we grow strong," I told them, trying to keep my voice steady. Reality was harsh. The first project was a simple app for a local client, but they were skeptical. "You were paralyzed from the waist down. Can you really guarantee deadlines?" Their words cut deep, made me doubt myself. At night, exhausted from therapy, leg massages, electrical stimulation, I lay awake wondering, can I really do this? Or will I fail again? At first, the company had only a few employees and small, scattered projects, optimizing systems for local stores, building basic websites. Clients still doubted the abilities of a man who had been disabled. I saw their eyes flick to my crutches during meetings. My heart raced with anxiety, afraid they would walk away. But through relentless persistence, staying up late, planning, making cold calls despite dozens of rejections, and clear strategies drawn from past experience, each project was completed flawlessly. The first app ran perfectly. The client was thrilled and referred others. Trust grew, leading to bigger contracts, software development for startups, project consulting for mid-sized firms. Revenue rose. The team grew to 10. My heart pounded with joy every time I signed a new contract. I did it. Within months, the media took notice. The first local article appeared. "From Paralyzed to Powerhouse, the inspiring story of Winston Cole." They told of the accident, the loss, the unexpected inheritance, and how I rose to start a company. Then it spread: TV interviews, viral social media posts. They called me a symbol of resilience. The man reborn from despair. Articles exploded online. #Winston Cole story trended for days. I read the comments. "He inspires me, from rock bottom to the top." My heart swelled with emotion, not from fame, but from knowing my story was helping others struggling with loss. Then the drama began. As soon as my parents, Camden and Marilyn, saw the news, they reached out. The phone rang in the middle of the night. "Son, we've seen the reports. It's time you fulfilled your duty as a son and invested a substantial amount in our company to help the family through these difficulties." My father's voice was cold, like a debt collector. I froze, anger surging. "Difficulties? You once called me a burden." But I answered calmly and firmly. "I'm sorry, but I can't. I have my own plans." They hung up furiously. In the following days, they kept calling and texting, harassing me. "You're selfish. We raised you, and now you abandon us in our hour of need." I ignored every call, turned off the phone when the screen kept lighting up, my heart pounding with tension, and focused on the company. When they refused to give up, they showed up at my office, causing a scene one beautiful sunny morning while I was in a team meeting. An employee rushed in. "There are an older man and woman at the door demanding to see you." I went out and found my parents standing there, faces red with rage, filming on their phones. "Our own son is rich but abandons his parents. We're going bankrupt because of debts and he refuses to help," my mother shouted, drawing a crowd. My heart raced. Cold sweat broke out. What if clients saw? What would the staff whisper? The incident caused a few ripples. Some partners called to ask questions. Social media buzzed, but I stayed silent, refusing to respond. "Don't react," Tiffany advised, hugging me. "They'll expose themselves." And that's exactly what happened. When journalists dug deeper, the truth came out. How they had abandoned their paralyzed son, skipped the funeral of their daughter-in-law and granddaughter, and thrown me out of their home. The first headline read, "Behind the Abandoned Parents, the story of a son discarded while paralyzed." Public outrage erupted. Comments poured in. "They should be ashamed. Winston is the victim." Their reputation collapsed overnight. Their family company lost all credibility. Partners severed ties to avoid association. Clients walked away, not wanting to be linked to a family condemned by public opinion. Everything slid downhill. Business loans frozen, projects stalled, financial trusts withdrawn. Struggling, the company teetered on the verge of collapse due to family scandal. I read them without pain, only a faint, distant sadness. One gloomy afternoon, the sky gray, as if about to rain, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Camden and Marilyn standing there, faces gaunt and weary, clothes rumpled instead of designer suits. "Son, let us in. We need to talk," my father said weakly. They begged me once more to invest and save the company. They asked to move in temporarily because their house was being foreclosed. My heart raced, not with anger, but with the weight of facing the past. I stood at the threshold, looking at the two people who had given me life, now broken and remorseful. Yet I felt no hatred, only a quiet, faded sorrow. Like looking at strangers. "Do you remember the day I was paralyzed and had lost everything? I begged to stay with you, and you threw me out, called me a burden, told me to go live with Tiffany," I said calmly. They lowered their heads. "We were wrong. We treated you terribly. Please forgive us." I shook my head. "Everyone reaps what they sow. I'm sorry, but I can't help you." Then I gently asked them to leave and closed the door, shutting a painful chapter that had lasted far too many years. For the first time, the past no longer clung to me. It had ended exactly where it needed to end. I walked back inside. Tiffany was waiting and hugged me. "Are you okay?" I nodded. A weight lifted from my heart. "I'm okay now. Only the future remains." That night, lying beside her, I still lay awake for a little while, nervous because life is always full of surprises. But now I was ready to face what came next. 1 year later, my company, Legacy Tech, had grown stronger than I could ever have imagined. From that cramped little office, we now occupied a spacious headquarters in the heart of Austin, with a staff that had grown tenfold to 30 talented, passionate engineers and developers. Major projects poured in, revenue was stable and rising steadily. I still remembered those first meetings when I hobbled in on crutches. People looked at me with a mix of curiosity and doubt. Now they called me Boss Winston, with genuine respect, and I sat confidently behind my desk, discussing strategy without worrying that my body might betray me. My heart still raced every time I signed a new contract, but no longer from fear. It was pure excitement, as if life was finally giving back what it once took away. "You did it," Tiffany often said, eyes shining, when I told her about a successful day. As work settled into a steady rhythm, I finally allowed myself to slow down. I no longer buried myself in the job just to escape the pain. In the early months, I had used the company as a shield, staying up late so I wouldn't have to think about Elise, Mia, or that horrific rainy night. Now I focused on true healing, both physical and emotional. Every morning I woke earlier and walked around the garden without crutches. My legs still limped slightly, but they were stronger than ever. I began meditating, sitting by the window, letting memories come without choking me. "You need time to heal the deeper wounds," the psychologist I voluntarily started seeing each week told me. I nodded, heart pounding with quiet anticipation for the day the pain would fully fade. The nightmares about the accident still came, but less often. And when I woke in the middle of the night, I no longer cried alone. Tiffany was there, holding my hand. "What did you dream about? Tell me." Tiffany still lived with me in the new house. Not out of duty or pity, but because of the natural bond that had grown between us after everything we had been through. We had walked through hell side by side. From the hospital to the agonizing therapy sessions, from the scandal with my parents to the nights when I wanted to give up. This house was no longer just a refuge, it had become our real home. We had fallen into a comfortable, warm routine, simple breakfasts. I made coffee, she toasted bread and fried eggs. We sat at the wooden table, talking about the day ahead. "Big client meeting today. Good luck," she'd say with that gentle smile that made my heart flutter. Afternoons were spent tending the garden together. I knelt to plant cherry blossom trees in memory of Elise while she watered the flowers, teasing, You planted that one crooked. In those moments, with the breeze rustling the leaves, peace slowly crept into my broken heart. We still did light therapy sessions, even though I walked well now. Tiffany would support my legs while I stretched, massaging my shoulders. Slow down. Take your time. In the evenings, exhausted from work, me from the office, her from her design studio, we collapsed on the sofa to watch a movie. A bowl of popcorn between us. Laughter echoing through the quiet living room. Many times my heart stirred when I saw her fall asleep on the couch, hair tousled, face peaceful under the dim light. I'd sit beside her, drape a blanket over her, my heart racing with a strange, tender feeling. Not pity but love. Or when she smiled so brightly at every small improvement, like the day I walked a full lap around the garden without stopping. She clapped and cheered. Keep going. You're doing so well. The pride in her shining eyes made me want to pull her close. Yet I always held back, careful not to let gratitude rush into something premature. She deserves better than that, I told myself, still carrying the ghost of Elise, my first love, and the pain of losing her. Though it had softened, I was afraid of tainting what we had with haste. Love needs time, as Grandpa always said. Patience, grandson. One cool weekend evening, with golden leaves falling outside the window, I decided to try walking without crutches. It had been exactly 1 year since I began serious recovery, and my legs felt stronger than ever. I stood up from the sofa, took a deep breath, and took slow, deliberate steps across the living room. My heart pounded with nervous excitement, afraid I might fall, afraid of failing. But my legs obeyed. I walked unassisted. Tiffany was making tea in the kitchen. She turned, saw me, and froze. The cup nearly slipped from her hand. You're walking. Without crutches. She whispered, then burst into joyful tears. I walked toward her. For the first time since the tragedy, standing steady in front of her without any support. Gently, I wiped her tears away. In that moment, looking into her eyes, I saw clearly that what shone there was more than simple care. It was love. Tender and sincere. A love that had quietly grown through all the months we had shared. But instead of rushing to embrace her or confess my feelings, I simply smiled, knowing this love needed to be built on respect and care. No hurry. No pressure. No shadow from the past. Thank you for everything, I whispered, still caressing her cheek. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I'm just so happy for you. We sat down on the sofa in silence for a while, but the air felt warmer than ever. From that day on, we maintained that delicate distance. Neither of us spoke the word love. Yet every gesture was filled with deeper care, respect, and growing warmth. I brought flowers home after work. She cooked special dinners. We walked in the garden, hands brushing accidentally, hearts racing with quiet excitement. In the evenings, lying side by side on the couch, shoulders touching, I felt her warmth chase away the last remnants of darkness. For the first time since the tragedy, I could see a bright future. The pain slowly fading, the wounds healing, and hope silently taking root in a peaceful life. I still remembered Elise, that love will always be part of my soul. But now my heart had gently opened to Tiffany, slowly and sincerely. My heart still raced when I saw her smile. But now it was the thrill of new love, not fear. Life is full of surprises. From loss to healing, from loneliness to connection. I know the journey isn't over. But with her by my side, I am ready for whatever comes next. 2 years after the tragedy. 2 years since. That fateful rainy night that took Elise and Mia, leaving me with a shattered body and a bleeding heart. I had almost completely recovered. The legs that once lay paralyzed like lifeless logs now walked steadily across the polished wooden floors of our home. No more crutches. No more wheelchair. Only firm, confident steps, even if they still carried a slight limp. My body had grown strong again through relentless therapy and training, morning runs around the garden, afternoon gym sessions, evening stretches by the fireplace. My company, Legacy Tech, had become one of the fastest-growing tech firms in Texas, hailed by the media as a symbol of rebirth. From those first small projects, we now handled major international contracts, developing AI-driven management systems, providing strategic tech consulting for startups. The staff had grown to over 100, and our headquarters featured sleek glass walls and creative open spaces. Where I once attended meetings with crutches beside me, I now stood tall to present ideas without a tremor. The press interviewed me constantly. How did you rise from rock bottom? I always answered simply, because of the people who truly loved me, and because I refused to give up. My heart still raced when I read the articles, not because of fame, but because I saw my story inspiring others struggling with loss, just as I once did. Throughout this time, the love between Tiffany and me grew quietly, from peace and understanding into something deep and genuine. It wasn't the explosive, youthful passion I had shared with Elise, those rushed kisses, those breathless promises, but a gentle, steady current, like a calm river after a storm. We had walked through hell together, the nights I cried for Mia when she sat silently listening, the therapy sessions when I wanted to quit, when she held my hand and urged me on. Love blossomed naturally from the smallest gestures, her leaving coffee ready in the morning, my bringing flowers home after work. We were never in a hurry. Both of us had lost too much. I had lost my wife and daughter. She had lost her sister and niece. My heart would race whenever I wondered, is this love, or just gratitude? But slowly I understood. This was love. Real and healthy. Built on profound understanding. We married in a small, intimate ceremony. Nothing extravagant, just close friends and a few colleagues from the company. It was a cool summer afternoon in our backyard, simple wooden tables, flowers we had planted ourselves, and laughter ringing through the air. I wore a white suit. Tiffany was radiant in a pure white dress, her hair flowing freely. No grand reception, just vows exchanged before the minister. I promise to love you, to cherish you, just as you have done for me, she cried. I cried. That was the most peaceful day I had known in years, as if life had finally given me back a true home, not a mansion, but a place filled with honest love. The reception afterward was simple, homemade cake and inexpensive wine, and joyful stories about our journey. My heart raced with pure, nervous happiness. I really had a home again. One clear morning, with mist still clinging to the cemetery, I visited the graves of Elise and Mia, carrying a bouquet of white flowers, the kind Mia used to pick in the garden. Tiffany came with me, but stayed back a little, giving me space for my memories. I walked slowly to the two quiet headstones, laid the flowers down, and sat on the damp grass, gazing at the engraved names, Elise Cole, Mia Cole. Once my entire world. There was no longer searing pain, no uncontrollable tears, only gratitude that they had passed through my life, bringing joy and lessons. Elise. Mia. I've stood up again. I whispered sincerely. I'm living again. I found peace. You'd want that for me, wouldn't you? I will love you both forever. A breeze passed through, as if in answer, and my heart felt strangely at peace as I turned away from the cemetery, leaving the graves behind. I looked at the blue sky ahead, white clouds drifting, birds soaring. And I knew with absolute clarity that the past had truly closed. No more haunting. No more guilt. Only lessons. Reflecting on everything I had endured, from that deadly rainy night to the lonely hospital days, from family betrayal to the unexpected inheritance, from agonizing recovery to new love, I found a message for myself, and for anyone who has suffered as I did. No matter how far life pushes you down, never let go. No one can save you but yourself. Stand up again. For those who truly love you, and because your life deserves to be lived a second time. Those words echoed in my mind, like Grandpa whispering from above. With a healed heart, I returned to Tiffany, the woman who had held my hand through the darkness, from the hospital to the nights of despair. She waited by the car, smiling softly. Are you okay? I pulled her into my arms. I'm okay now. Let's go home. We drove back, hand in hand, ready to keep building our future. A future filled with warmth and hope. Perhaps we'll have children. Perhaps new challenges will come. But now my heart beats steadily with happiness. Life. How wondrous it is! From tragedy to joy, from loss to finding again. I am ready for whatever surprises lie ahead. In that peace, I silently thanked Grandpa. Thank you for everything. Pause, so tell me. Have you ever faced a moment in your life where everything was stripped away, only to find an unexpected source of strength, or a hidden lifeline? What would you have done if your own family turned their back on you when you needed them most? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts.